Please, don't hurt me.
Don't be afraid.
Yeah!
Okay, so welcome to childhood trauma. I've had a lot of that growing up, so this is gonna be like the first episode. I've actually done episodes of this before on my old channel, but I figured why not make it a series because I can list like 15 of these off the top of my head. And the first one I wanted to do was the goddamn Simpsons. Homer discovers an alien, which was, spoiler alert, it was Mr. Burns. But as a kid, this fucking episode scared the ever-living shit out of me. Worse than anything that Courage the Cowardly Dog ever did. Worse than the Brave Little Toaster ever did. Not as bad as Mars Attacks, which now I'm starting to see a pattern that it seems to be Alien, which scares me, which seems to be funny because it's like a recurring thing from the last two episodes I did on my channel, which were UFO related. Holy shit, am I now becoming a tinfoil hat person? Ugh. But this episode of The Simpsons, when Mr. Burns was taking his medicine or whatever, was making him loopy, he would travel around in the woods or whatever, and the radiation that was coming off his body from working in the nuclear power plant made him have this green glow. And Homer found him in the woods, and it scared the living shit out of him. As a child, that scared me so bad. It definitely doesn't help when you have the X-File theme music playing, because that just makes everything 10 times worse. In fact, it scared me so bad growing up that I deliberately avoided the X-Files theme any chance that I got, because it was so goddamn frightening to me. I never wanted to hear it. And I think this is actually the very first time I've heard it doing the intro to this video, and I don't know, man, like a couple years? It's been so long, but nonetheless, it has always been a big impact on my life on the fear factor, I guess. So I guess I could say that when this episode came out back in the 90s, because I grew up watching The Simpsons even when they were bad. I always hated Family Guy. I was always a Simpsons guy. I think this episode of The Simpsons is the whole reason why I hate Futurama, which I'm like the one guy in the world that cannot stand Futurama, and it's because it's alien, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Maybe, a lot of this is making sense now that I think about it. But this episode and Mars Attacks, the movie, are the two biggest fuck yous I've ever had to deal with in terms of like horror, I guess, growing up. Which is funny because I saw The Grudge, and I'm not going to do that yet, but that will be a childhood trauma video in the future. That movie scared me so fucking bad as a child. As a teenager, I should say. The Grudge scared me so bad I had to sleep in my brother's bed for a month. My brother would not stop passing gas. And I rather sat there and took the gas than sleep in my own bed and sleep with my own ass. It was terrible. I did not mean to make that into a rhyme, but it is pretty funny. But nonetheless, I still say Mars Attacks is definitely the scariest movie I've ever seen growing up. And holy fuck, fun fact, I think the scariest movie I've ever seen in period in general. A little controversial because this is one of those movies that people hate, but I love it. I think it's one of the greatest movies ever made of all time. Signs. I will make a podcast episode about the movie Signs at some point in the future for the movie Police. I have not forgotten about the podcast. I've just been busy. But this episode of The Simpsons has been just astronomically horrifying to me. Just fucking melted my brain. So I don't know. Now that I think about it, a lot of movies and like media that relates with UFOs, aliens, any kind of extraterrestrial, interdimensional beings, atmospheric jellyfish, skywell phenomena. I'm kidding. All that stuff has really like terrified the fuck out of me, and it makes a lot of sense now, and I didn't ever realize it until just now. So there is a difference from knowing something and understanding something. Some people say, "Oh yeah, I know I'm gonna die," but you don't understand you're going to die until you're dying, and then it's just kind of like, what? I don't know. You learn something new about yourself every day. You don't ever say that you know yourself because you fucking don't. I just learned this about myself, and I'm gonna be 32 this year. Damn. So that is my childhood trauma episode. Episode 1, I guess, for the new start of the series. Have you ever seen this episode of The Simpsons? Let me know. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.
Don't be afraid.